Sigh of relief, people. Sigh of relief. I have finished this book. I mean, it's not a sigh of relief for you. It's a sigh of relief for me. And I don't know why I'm calling you people. You are people, though, so that makes sense. Um, I have finally finished this book. It has taken me a while to finish this book. It's not like I've been reading it, like, non-stop. I've been reading it, like, on and off for, like, a while. And I don't read it every day because I've been busy doing, like, stuff. Because I'm a busy person. No, I'm not. But yeah, I finally finished this book. I feel like, why did I do that? Okay, I feel like this was just like kind of like a, I don't know, it felt like I was reading more than one book. Like after I finished it, I was like, I felt like I'd read like 7 books, you know, like all 7 books, but I was like, I've only read 2, like 2 measly little books. They're not little, but, and they're not measly either, so I feel like I should just like start the video now. Okay. So, hi there, this is a book talk video for this book right here, A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, and it is book 2 of A Song of Ice and Fire. Just to like tell you, because I need to tell you, this is a spoiler-full video, so spoiler alert. This video is going to be all about me talking about this book right here, and I'll just be talking about it like randomly and just telling you things that I liked or didn't like or found interesting or whatever like that. So, if you haven't read this book, then I don't think you should watch this video unless you want it to be spoiled for you, but you really shouldn't because it's a really good book and you should read it, like, before you get it spoiled for you. Come and watch this video after you've read the book, and then comment below and tell me, you know, what you liked about this book or whatever you want to say. Yeah, so let's just get into this video, which I have already said, and I'm already into this video. I don't know why I'm saying that again. So, before I start talking about this book and what I thought about it, I first wanted to just like give like a rundown kind of what's happening in this book, and I need to do it really quickly because there's a lot of stuff to run down because it's a really big book. It's like 872 pages. Yes, that's right. I know how many pages it is. Yes, I'm just gonna like tell you about it quickly. It's the second book in the series. The first one is Game of Thrones. This is the second one, A Clash of Kings, and the next one is A Storm of Swords. This one, like the first one, has many different like characters who you see their point of view from. So yeah, the first one had like I think 7 or something. This one has 9 point of views, and it also has a prologue point of view. So the prologue is a different person, but he dies at the end of the prologue, so you know you don't really get to see from him later on. So the prologue point of view is from Master Kristen, who is Stannis Baratheon's master, and he dies at the end of his prologue. The next person is who's the next person? Davos Seaworth. Oh my gosh, Seawater? What? Seaworth. Davos Seaworth, who was a smuggler, and he's still a smuggler at heart, but now he's a knight. Stannis Baratheon made him into a knight, and he also cut off his fingers on one hand, I think, and now he keeps them in a pouch, which is kind of creepy. I mean, I understand like the whole thing behind it, but you know, to have fingers in a pouch with you at all times is kind of creepy. But oh well, I really like that character, by the way. I really like him. I thought there was very little of him, and the fact that he dies was kind of like, oh, okay. But yeah, that's the next point of view person that we see. The next person is Tyrion Lannister, who I do have to say is featured a lot in this book. Tyrion Lannister he's Cersei's and Jaime's brother. He's Tywin Lannister's son. You should know him. He's a main character, so yeah, that's who he is. He is at King's Landing, like for the most of the book, for the whole book, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he's the Hand of the King there. The next person that we see point of view from is Catelyn Stark. She is Eddard Stark's wife, or widow now, I suppose. Well, not suppose. I know she is, because Eddard Stark is dead. Yeah, the next person that we see is Sansa Stark. She is Catelyn's eldest daughter. She is being held captive at King's Landing. And she is supposed to be wed to Joffrey, but afterwards, like at the end of the book, somewhere near there, she is let go of that, and that girl who I can't remember from the Highgarden house, she like becomes the new bride of Joffrey. The next person is Arya Stark, who is Sansa's younger sister, and yeah, everyone thinks that she's dead, but she's actually not. She gets like transported kind of to the Night's Watch, but she doesn't make it there. She ends up at Harrenhal, and that's where she kind of, stays for most of the book, kind of, I think. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure, yes. The next character is Bran Stark, who we get to see in Winterfell, and we get to see what's happening in Winterfell and what's happening there. The next character is Jon Snow, who shows us what's happening on the Wall and beyond the Wall, and that is a really interesting story, I have to say. It's really interesting. I really like the Wall. Yeah. The next character is the Young Greyjoy. He was a ward at Winterfell, and he was like with Robb, fighting with Robb, in the battle thing, and he leaves Robb and he goes back to his home in Pike, and then he ends up at Winterfell and he does some crazy things there, and then he ends up just being, yeah, his character, yeah, it's just not good, not good. The next person is Daenerys Targaryen. She is in the east, and for most of the book she's in a city called Qarth. Yeah, and you can see what happens to her there, and that story is just like, oh my gosh, and so awesome. Like the what is it? That person that's with her, Zao, whatever. I don't know what his name is. I will remember though. And then the thing with the house. What's the house? I'm really not being very descriptive. The warlocks of the House of Dust. Yeah, that is a really interesting. Like I really like that kind of part of the story. So yeah, those are the characters that we see point of views from. There are also three main stories three main plot lines. The first main plot lines is what's happening. The first of the plot lines is in Seven Kingdoms, and then that has like minor plot lines from it. So the first one is like what's happening to Stannis and to Renly and everyone in that kind of area. We see that through Davos and through the prologue person, and through Caitlyn when she interacts with them. The next mini plotline, that like subplot line, is what's happening with Theon and Bran and Winterfell, and like what happens when they meet up. And the whole thing about Theon going a bit crazy and just yeah, because I really don't like his character. I thought I did like his character, but I did not. The next subplot line of that is Arya and what happens to her at Harrenhal and her journey from King's Landing to almost, well not almost, but on her way to the Wall, and then the way that she gets turned around and she gets put in Harrenhal. The next story is what's happening in the actual King's Landing and all the preparations and stuff like that for the battle that's going to happen when Stannis comes to King's Landing, and that's mostly what's happening with Tyrion and also Sansa as well. And yeah, so that's the first major plotline with all the like mini subplot lines. The next one is what's happening on the Wall, and that's mostly through Jon. And then the next one is what's happening in the east with Daenerys and with her story and the dragons.